Hello folks, and thank you for joining us again. We are live at the Donington Park National Circuit for the feature race of the Front Row Racing ProjectCARS Season 5, Round 3. So yeah, qualifying, warm-up and the feature race here from Donington Park. Once again, apologies for what appears to have been a mass crash on the game for every driver that held us on a loading screen, forcing a new lobby and a restart of the broadcast. So, as I said, apologies for that. I just want to check and make sure that the live stream is working properly. So, James, I'm going to pop the car on Dave the Harp, seeing as he had a bit of a shocker in the sprint race. If you want to take us through a lap with him.
Yeah, we'll just jump on board as soon as possible as Jason just flies through turn 1 in front of Dave and yeah, just takes the ProjectCARS board with him. Now Dave is heading down the hill, and I believe, I'm just trying to work out which driver that is, I believe it is Adam 4600 in the chrome and orange livery, and then Jason. So hopefully Dave the Harp will not be getting impeded by either of them, as he really needs to capitalise now in this session. Heading up the hill. Yep. The two cars in front are slightly blocking the road, but Jason looks to have got well out of the way there, as Dave the Harp now may be getting a lovely bit of slipstream towards the final chicane, and he, with Michelin Man and Casely out of the equation, Dave the Harp may have been compromised there through the final corner, but he needs to make sure he gets either pole or second place. He needs to be on the front row.
Yep, well,
P1 at the moment.
He is, yep, currently in pole position. GT Gavin's currently sitting in second place. Looks like he's gone for another flying lap, and he's had a big spin on the exit of the old hairpin. That'll be that lap over. Now, Hesselden 90, he's a driver that I still don't think we've seen his full potential over the course of this season, or even parts of last season. We know he is a phenomenal driver. It just depends on how much he's had to drink on the Saturday night, and off he goes, Obviously, he's had a lot to drink, and thankfully there's an ambulance parked on that corner as well. Now, I'll tell you what, if you ever do get the opportunity to go to Donington Park, just about where Hesselden hit the wall is a good place to stand or sit to watch the cars here. You don't get to see them anywhere else around the track, but you can quite often see a lot of action. Yeah, I was going to mention, James, you said that Dave the Harp looked like he may have been getting held up and hindered a little bit. However, when it comes to the feature race, blue flags are not in action, are they?
No, it's really down to the driver's skill to gauge every car as if it's a car for position, even though it may not be. The cars that are a lap down are well within their right to stay on the racing line. But then again, on the other hand, we don't want to see cars colliding for no reason. So they've got to be aware of which cars are around them. But unlike Formula 1, they don't have to jump out of the way when they're a mile away from the car that's about to lap them.
Yep. Okay, so we're nearly halfway through this qualifying session, and the top 3 drivers from the sprint race, they're not allowed to qualify. So Michelin Man, Kay Slay and M1989 Woolhouse should all be sat in the pits watching this qualifying session to see who's looking quick, and those 3 drivers will be starting from the back of the grid. I'm just watching Adam 4600 cross the line, and it's a 5th place for him at the moment. Hesselden, he has gone on for a lap, and he's currently in 6th, and he's going to stay 6th, but I think he's starting a lap now. I'm going to have a ride on board with Dex Zidrom. Not ridden on board with him for very often, so 8th place for him at the moment. Go on, James, you were about to mention something?
Yeah, I'm just going to let our viewers know that GBM Oldman has just snatched P1 off of Dave the Harp, but Dave the Harp is just heading over the line. We'll just see what this lap time's going to be, see if he's going to improve. Yes, he's back to P1 with a 101.4. Back to you.
Okay, so Dex here, he's currently on a 103.3. However, he was looking fast enough to apply pressure to GBM Oldman in the sprint race. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to be able to improve on his lap time here. And also, I wouldn't be surprised if drivers find that their faster laps come on the second or maybe even the third lap. And one of the reasons for that is, I mean, although this circuit isn't the shortest, it is still quite short, and it can take a while to get the tyre temperature up. So Dex, on what could be his second or third lap now, may be able to improve. Currently sitting in 8th place, heading up to the start-finish line. Not yet, because that's not the start-finish line there, or there. It's the red line there, and he stays in 8th place, although he did improve on his time. Dave the Harp, though, he's gone on for another lap, and he's on the start-finish straight now. 101.4 is his current best. Is he going to best it again? Yes, he does, by 1/10.
Yeah, he needs to make sure that he holds on to P1, as GBM Oldman is now about half a second behind, with Vectra not too far behind either. Vectra's looked a little bit off the pace in the first two races compared to Oldman, but he's definitely, his skill and quality is coming through. The one that's really catching me out now is Hesselden down in P6. This should be the prime opportunity for him to get a decent grid spot.
Yep, definitely. You'd think so. I mean, maybe it's this car, maybe it's this circuit, maybe it's just his bad luck. It's not been going for him so far. Oldman's been bumped down to 3rd place.
Yeah, it is Hesselden that's just snatched P2.
I think, though, Oldman may be about to take it back. He's currently on a 102.0, and he's not improved.
No. That's a surprise. Oldman's shown a lot of pace in this opening half of the season.
I tell you what,
to be fair.
Sorry, I was going to say, I'll tell you what, GP, don't say anything. Don't say anything. I'll tell you why in a moment, James. Hesselden, he is on another flying lap, but he's got a car ahead of him that could be holding him up a little bit. But the gap between Hesselden and GBM Oldman is 0.016. So not even half a tenth. So yeah, a very small gap between them. But Hesselden heading up to the finish line as the car behind him spins on the curb. Yeah, not sure who that was.
I think.
Oh, big shame for Kulukutu then, but Hesselden hasn't improved. Neither has Dave the Harp. We're down to just under 2 minutes left. GBM Vectra heading up to the start-finish line. He's on a 102.2. Can he find himself 7/10 or 9/10? No, but he can put himself into 3rd. Somehow, he's managed to split Hesselden and GBM Oldman. I wouldn't have thought that'd be possible.
Overdyking heading towards the final chicane. I think Woolhouse has had a bit of a mare through there. Can he improve as I think
Adam 4600 has just hit the pit lane.
Yeah, I think Overdyking may have done a classic mistake there. He's slowed down way before the finish line, and yeah, I think he's just thrown away about half a second there.
It's very easy to do here. I've known people... Oh, Jason, losing it on the Dunlop straight. That's a big spin. He'll be glad there's a hands device in that car. I see Tempfear. He's heading into McLean's now. 50 seconds left, so any driver crossing the finish line now is not going to get another lap in, and drivers have only got 45 seconds to finish the lap they are on, as Tempfear goes a little bit wide at Coppice, and yeah, I think that's pretty much going to be his lap over as well. He's going to have a quick flick up the front, see if any of the leaders are on laps. Dave the Harp is, and so is GBM Oldman. GBM Oldman's just going around turn 1 now, so he is not going to be able to finish his lap. Dave the Harp's got 25 seconds to get to the finish line, which I think he may be able to do. He may just be able to do. And Front Row Racing GP is commenting in the YouTube comments, and I'll answer his questions in a moment. But I tell you what, Dave, oh, big spin. I told you down there's a good place to stand to watch cars. Yes, Dave, that's the wrong way. You may want to just go around the corner a little bit. That's where the pit lane is. But an interesting qualifying session where once again, after a sprint race, Dave the Harp has put himself on pole position, and Hesselden second place. Very, very much needed positions for those guys. What may be useful for K-Slate is that he's going to start a little bit ahead of Michelin Man. Kulu Kutu starts in 11th, the last of the actual qualifiers there. A very interesting qualifying session.
Yeah, indeed. It's exactly the position that Dave Hart needs. I think he only took 1 point with P10 in the feature race, if even that. He may not have even got 1 point, so he really needs to capitalise. It seems like he's having the same weekend that Casely had last weekend, but he just needs to make sure that he wins this race. No matter, even if it's Michelin Man finishing P2, he needs to make sure he finishes P1.
Yep. Okay, we're in the warm-up session now. This is where the drivers get to make any adjustments to their setup that they like. They need to sort out their fuel loads, their pit strategies, and work out or try and visualise what's going to happen down into turn 1. Turn 2, well, it's called Hollywood, but I don't think stars are really made there. Big crashes are, though, and so they are down at the old hairpin as well. I'm going to quickly mention the question of the day again, so if you want to have a bash at guessing the answer on this one, post your answer in the YouTube comments. Nearly saw Michelin Man take Overdijking out as Overdijking came out of the pits there. Question of the day. When was the first race at Donington Park?
I'm taking it I'm wrong.
Well, even if you were right, would I tell you?
Probably not.
Exactly. Now, interestingly, Casely is just on a lap in a 1:11.1. That's quite slow. I think he's just been cruising. But Casely tends to just do a little bit of testing in the warm-up session. Perhaps do a practice start, see how the car's handling in some corners and things like that. For you, though, James, what would you use the warm-up session for?
Sandbagging. Make your competitors feel like as if you're absolutely useless. As soon as that light goes out, just
show them that you're absolutely useless.
Yeah, exactly. But Casely, I don't think he'll be doing that. But he needs to make sure Michelin Man, once again, even in that sprint race, he just watched as Michelin Man absolutely cut his way through the field, and he was in P1 while Casely was still hanging about trying to overtake people. He needs to make sure that when he starts this race, he's the one flying through the field and not Michelin Man.
Yep. I mean, I mentioned it after the race last week in the podium interviews, which we'll do again at the end of this race. I mentioned that all it would take is for Michelin Man and Casely to have a difficult race from the back of the grid, and it could open it wide up. I mean, if Michelin Man gets caught out in a collision and ends up finishing dead last, and Casely finishes up near the front, suddenly there could be a 25-point swing. I mean, there's so much that could actually happen. It's fairly fantastic. James, just to pre-warn you, obviously we've got just under 2 minutes of the warm-up session left, but at some point through the race I am going to be asking you what circuit we're at next week, so if you want to kind of get yourself prepared for that, so when I drop it on you, you're not like because admittedly I didn't look. I've got a picture of it actually, but I've not had a quick look this evening. So, the warm-up session so far, Casely a little bit quicker, and as I mentioned, he likes to do a practice start. So here we go, he's on the grid, he's going to try a practice start, bit of wheel spin there. He's not moving yet, but perhaps testing his brake or testing his clutch as drivers come flying by. Look like a nice clean start. This circuit though, it's one of those... I don't know if being aggressive into turn 1 would work for Michelin Man or Casely, because I would not be surprised. As we have a driver, GBM Vectra, making it snow on the Craner curves. I think we're going to be seeing a couple of cars off into the gravel on the exit of the first turn.
Yeah, I mean, as we saw in that sprint race, down towards turn 1, there were 4 cars just sliding straight off. Once you get 2 cars side by side, you're going straight forward. There's nothing you can do other than brake. And even if you brake, you're probably going to get hit from behind. So good luck on the way down into turn 1. It's all about making sure you're giving racing room. I'm not one to say that, as I'm classed as James Shunt.
Well, I was laughing because I was just watching two cars exchange door mirrors down the Dunlop straight as you were saying that, but obviously testing the limits of grip there. Okay, so we've got 5 seconds then until we're on the grid for Front Row Racing ProjectCARS Season 5 Round 3 feature race here at Donington Park circuit. See that 10th here says has been disconnected. Hopefully he's been able to get back in, but the lights are going to be coming on and they're going to be going off very, very quickly. We're going to retire as quickly as we can as well and get on board for all of the action into turn 1. It's getting very busy from about 6th, 7th downwards, and there is contact. A couple of cars going wide. One of them's Casely, got himself up to 7th, but up ahead we've got more contact and cars off left, right, and it's snowing again around Hollywood. I don't think it's ever snowed in Hollywood for real. But that's Casely down to 11th.
Yeah, Casely had an absolutely brilliant start, absolutely fantastic launch. But Michelin Man played it safe, and I think he's the one that's come away better. He's in P7 at the moment, and he's just behind Hesselden.
He is just behind Hesselden, and yeah, I think Casely just got caught out on the outside of the corner, pushed a little bit wide, and we've got a car in the background going a little bit slow. But for Michelin Man, probably couldn't have gone any better. Dexter Drum, though, 3rd place. He's having a look at attacking GBM Vectra as they make their way down to the S's. And guess what? Dave the Harp is doing what he's done in previous events. He's opening up a gap as Michelin Man makes a move on Hesselden. But here comes GBM Oldman passing Dex Drum, who managed to get ahead of him, but now they're swapping places again.
Yeah, Vectra, he has looked like the slower driver in the first few rounds compared to Oldman, and Oldman is now stuck up behind his gearbox for P2. It's whether he can make a move as quick as possible, because the field is going to start bunching very quick, and this is exactly really what Dave Hart needs.
It is. Michelin Man, he's got ahead of Overdyking. Overdyking's trying to fight back, but that battle for 2nd place at the moment is beginning to get a little bit feisty. I have seen a message on YouTube as well from Temp Fear that is saying basically that was fun. He got smashed up in the sprint race and then he got disconnected for the race. It's massively, massively unfortunate that, but here comes GBM Oldman with Dex right behind him, both trying to attack GBM Vectra, who manages to stay ahead into the S's. But latching onto the back of that, it's Michelin Man.
Yeah, it's looking very tense, and I think Vectra may lose position here as he's staying to the racing line. Oldman has the inside line, and it looks like he's taken that now. But Dex is also in on this, and Michelin Man's also in on it.
Yeah, Michelin Man's only gone and overtaken both of them heading into Hollywood. That's a fantastic move. And Casely, a few positions behind, has been able to do nothing but just watch him do that. But that was a fantastic bit of driving as those two battled. Oh, he's got a good run heading up to McLean's.
Very nice run.
He's going to be on the outside. Switch back.
Yeah, Oldman, he needs to stay as tight to the right-hand side as possible, because Michelin Man, he's going to have it, and unfortunately he's left the door wide open, and he's had it.
Yep, so through Coppice, Michelin Man makes his move up to 2nd place.
Dave Harp will see that in the mirrors and also on his dashboard, and he will need to pull out very, very quick lap times as Casely, he's stuck behind Hesselden, and it doesn't look like he can make his way past.
You're right there, just a bit further behind though. Kulu Kutu and M1989 Woolhouse, they're having a bit of a battle as Overdyking spins in the S's. It's unfortunate for him, but Kulu Kutu wiggly on the brakes into turn 1, and that's going to give Woolhouse a little bit of confidence. But Woolhouse, to be fair, he's doing a bit of shaking dead ass as well.
Hesselden's really under pressure from Casely now, as we're heading towards the old hairpin. Hesselden is also coming up behind Dex. He needs to make sure that he isn't getting bogged down, and Casely will be all over the back of him, but we know the quality of Hesselden's driving. I don't think he'll allow that to happen.
I don't think he will as well. This would be a frustrating situation for Casely, as we know, as Hesselden having a look. He's late on the brakes. I think he's had to take evasive. This is Casely's opportunity. It is, and through he goes.
Yeah, Hesselden made a fundamental error there, driving into a gap that didn't exist, and he had to sort it all out at the apex, and unfortunately Casely just watched all the drama happening in front of him and just picked him off on the exit.
Yeah, he's now hunting down Dex, and he's right on the back of him going through Hollywood, down the crane of curves. May be able to have a look into the old hairpin, but it's not an easy place to overtake, although it is very, very, very tempting. But he'll be looking for a good run up the hill to McLean's.
Yeah, it looked like Casely were able to very much hold the apex a lot better through the old hairpin compared to Dex, and Dex ran a bit wide, and now it's compromised him as we're heading up towards Coppice.
Yeah, he's managed to get ahead through Coppice as well, so nice move that. So Caseley's now up to 4th with Dex in 5th, Hesselden 6th, Adam 4600's catching up to Hesselden in 7th place. Woolhouse and Kulu Kutu still fighting each other. They're doing so much dancing. They're like that TV advert where they got the guys in hot pants and high heels dancing with the builders. Oh, but Kulu Kutu's made a mistake, and Vectra, he can't capitalise because he's got a power boost penalty. GT Gavin, though, he may be able to attack him.
Yeah, Vectra really, unfortunately, his race pace is showing through now, and it's not looking too good for him. He started at the end of lap 2 in P2. He's now in P10, unfortunately.
Yeah, Dave the Harpy's still got himself quite a nice lead. However, Michelin Man in 2nd place is no slouch, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's closing that gap in on him. GBM Oldman running in 3rd place can only watch Michelin Man as he drives away and see Casely getting bigger in his mirrors, which is probably not happening as quick as Casely would like.
Do you reckon anybody would be able to do a non-stop? I mean, if anybody is going to do it, I think it may be Michelin Man, but would it be worth doing it, do you think?
Only if it's beneficial. I mean, here comes Casely, though. I mean, this is a circuit that it does hurt the front left tyres a lot, given the nature of all of the fast corners are right-handers. So Oldman makes a mistake. That's Casely's opportunity to take 3rd place, and he has done. But is Oldman going to fight it down to the old hairpin? No, he hasn't got a chance. Casely now needs to try and get after Michelin Man, but he's gone wide.
As if he got away with a power boost penalty there. I thought he was definitely going to get one, but his right front tyre was just on the white line.
Yep. Well, he did manage to get away with it. Michelin Man, though, just having a look. I tell you what, Dave's holding his own at the moment up at the front. Yeah. Michelin Man may be catching him, but I don't think it's by a lot.
Yeah, he's catching him, but it's by about 2/10 per lap. And unfortunately, he's going to have to do it every single lap to try and catch, because Dave just keeps banging in 109s and Michelin Man's only banging in 108s.
Oh, Adam 4600, he's got a good run on Hesselden. I'm wondering if Hesselden's just... I've seen him have 2 offs now in the S's. I don't know whether it's the setup on the car or whether it's just those massive curves that he's been struggling with. As Adam 4600 goes a little deep into turn 1, that's compromised him a little bit. Woolhouse running in 8th place, got a bit of a gap now between himself and Kulukutu. GT Gavin 2 trying to close the gap in on him. GBM Vectra running in 11th with Overdyking trying to catch up to him. He's running in 12th, and we've got Jason in 13th, who I think may be a little bit frustrated like Temp Fear was. An unfortunate sprint race, and unfortunately is riding at the back in the feature race.
Just to let the viewers know, Dave the Hart's previous lap was a 102.4, Michelin Man's was a 101.8, Casely's was also a 101.8.
Well, let's see what Casely's lap is going to be this time around. Let's see, he's just on a 101.4. So he's gained at least half a second on Michelin Man in that particular lap. I mean, for Dave the Hart, though... So, go on.
I was just going to say, Michelin Man, from viewing his driving style, it seems to be very much Sebastian Vettel-esque. Push like mad in the first 3 laps, and then once you get a bit of free air, just cruise and look after the tyres.
Yep, could well be. So as we watch the first 4 cars heading up towards McLean's, the closest battle near the front is Dex and Hesselden, but they're not exactly right next to each other at the moment. Adam 4600 has dropped off the back of Hesselden by quite some margin now. Kulukutu, where's Woolhouse gone? I think Woolhouse has had a problem. Is he pitted?
P13. He's got a lot of damage on this car.
He's either had a big crash after the pit entry, or he's been in the pits and it's not repaired his damage for him.
Heselden doesn't even seem to be attaching himself onto the back of Dex. Dex seems to be holding his own in P5, and Oldman's a bit in no man's land at the moment. Miles in front of Dex and miles away from Casely, unfortunately, but Casely does seem to be trying to close in on Michelin Man, as Michelin Man is getting ever closer to Dave the Harp. Well,
Michelin Man just did a 101.6, so he's just done his fastest lap of the race, and we're on the 9th lap of this race, or the 10th lap of this race. So Michelin Man's tyres must be handling quite nicely at the moment. I mean, for Dave the Harp, though, he mentioned in the podium interviews of the last race that his tyre wear was quite high, which hindered his opportunity to really try and take a victory. And I'm wondering if it's similar here, because Michelin Man is just on a 101.4, and he is really closing that gap in on Dave the Harp. I don't know what Dave the Harp's last lap time was, but I've got a feeling it might be about a second slower.
Yeah, Dave the Harp's previous lap was a 102.3. Michelin Man's was a 101.4. Casely's was a 101.5. So Casely and Michelin Man are on very similar pace, but Dave the Harp is really struggling now with 18 laps to go.
Yeah, okay, 28 lap race. If you're going to do a one stop, you're going to want to try and pit about 14 laps into the race, depending on what tyres you've got on the car. I mean, you're not going to want to go for a two stop, but I mean, if Dave's struggling for his tyres now, he's going to be struggling for the next 4 laps as well.
I've got a bit more bad news for Dave the Harp as well. He's coming up on back markers that do not need to get out of the way, and he's going to be begging for him to jump out of his way.
You're right there.
Jason and Woolhouse through turn 1 in front of Dave the Harp, and they'll be very much playing on Dave the Harp's mind, as he'll be solely focused on his rear view mirror.
Yep, that he will. So as he goes through the old hairpin, he's running wide at the exit of the old hairpin. He's going to have to be careful of power boost penalties there, but that is a surefire sign that the grip isn't there in the car. Either that or he's just pushing a little bit too hard. But here comes Michelin Man. He's right on his coattails now as the dodgy cameras are in play again here at Donington Park, which is very frustrating, but I think Michelin Man's going to have an opportunity straight away.
Yeah, through McLean's there. Dave really was not pushing the throttle. I think his rear tyres have completely gone now, as Michelin Man is just hounding him on the brakes, braking so much later and carrying so much more speed through the corners. Michelin Man's going to touch wide there. That may help Dave Harp down the start-finish straight, heading towards Redgate. But I think Michelin Man's traction on the exit may just be too much.
Oh, Dave's gone wide.
Deep.
He's gone wide, yeah. I think Dave's tyres are beyond the cliff. There's not many cliffs around Derbyshire or Nottinghamshire, but Dave's managed to find one. But that's Michelin Man up into first place now, and he's going to have to deal with the traffic. And Dave's gone wide again at the old hairpin. Yeah, I think the grip is just not there in those tyres anymore, as Michelin Man sieves his way through the traffic. Casely needs to capitalise as quickly as possible on Dave's misfortune right now. He's going to have a couple of laps to try and do that. Let's see if we've got any battles further down. Heselden in between a wide sandwich, but he's got Adam 4600 trying to close in on him again.
The closest midfield battle is Kulu Kutu in P8, Overdyking P9 and Vector in P10, but I think we really need to focus on whether Casely's... Oh, Dave the Harp's pitted. Casely's up to P2, so Dave the Harp has had enough of those tyres and he's in the pit lane.
And the question now is, where is Dave going to come out? Because if he comes out into a bit of traffic, that's going to be a bit problematic for him. He is not on the move yet. He's still not on the move. He must be having some fuel go in that car.
Michelin Man having to overtake Dave the Harp and negotiate them back markers. He's just popped in a 102.5, and Casely is slightly faster than him. I think Casely is on for this win.
Oh, so you're putting your money down already then, James?
Oh yeah, 15 laps to go. In the bag, £10. And if he don't do it, I'll be beating £10 out of Casely.
He needs all the money he can get in case he has to pay for a new wheel or car ahead of Michelin Man. Big sideways into the S's, and he's going for the pits.
Yeah, that's Woolhouse in front of him.
Casely's following.
Vectra almost a lap down has just pitted for P10 he was in.
Okay, so first and second there in the pits. GBM Oldman, he's running in third, but he's going for the pits as well. Hesselden in the S's now in fourth place. Is he going to continue on? No, he's going for the pits. Adam 4600 is the next car into the S's, followed by Dave the Harp. Adam 4600
on the way.
Okay, Adam 4600 is into the pits, and Dave the Harp is on the start finish straight. Is he going to be able to have caught anything back?
I think Casely's just jumped him side by side through turn 1. Dave Harp just manages to snatch back P2, but Casely needs to get them tyres up to temperature, and he's all over the back of him now.
Well, that was crucial for Dave the Harp and frustrating for Casely. He needed to come out just ahead of Dave the Harp, really, because Dave has shown that on tyres that give him grip as he clings his windscreen. It's not raining, Dave. They're just tears in your eyes. Don't you worry. Casely knows that Dave the Harp on fresh tyres can handle himself quite well. And every second he spends behind Dave the Harp is a fraction of time he's not gaining on Michelin Man.
Definitely, he needs to make sure he gets past, but Dave the Harp is a tough cookie, and he does not like to give up his position easily.
I'll tell you what, Dave's actually opened that gap up a little bit. Maybe having the windscreen wiper on makes it go faster in the straight line, or a little extra downforce around the corners. But yeah, he has opened that gap up a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. And Michelin Man is now encountering a back marker that is just completely getting in his way, but he's just managed to go round the outside, and hopefully that will not be slowing him down anymore, as Dave the Harp is just slightly pulling out. Oh, he's lost it! Dave the Harp's lost it going down the hill! Open the DRS rear wing and hit a bump, and he has just lost P2, and Casely is through. Dave the Harp will be foaming.
That he will be. While you were doing that, I was having a look at a little battle that's kind of brewing. We've got GBM Oldman 4th place with GT Gavin 2 beginning to catch him up. Dex in 6th place with Hesselden right behind him. So we have got a bit of a battle for 6th and 7th place at the moment as Dex goes wide, but Hesselden's followed him.
How the hell did they get away with that?
I don't know. Neither of them have got a power boost penalty. But Hesselden's going to try the centre move up the inside. Dex gives him the room and holds on to the place.
Just managed to hold on to that by leaving space, and that's what we like to see. And as I usually say that, 2 corners later, they're both in the gravel trap the wrong way round.
Are they? No, they're not. Well, you were hypothesising.
Yes.
Get ready then, into the S's, gravel trap. No, you're safe on this occasion, but Hesselden is battling to catch Dex up. I tell you what, James...
Dave the Harp's lost it again. He's completely lost it. I think he just keeps opening the DRS wing, and it just keeps spinning on him.
I tell you what, he may lose 3rd place. I'm wondering, whether he's got a problem, whether it's not changed his rear tyres or something, or like you say, whether his DRS is just staying open. Either way, twice in 2 laps he's gone off, heading down towards the Crane curves.
Yeah, Oldman's catching him and he's bringing along with him GT Gavin 2, and in the background there, Hesselden on Dex. Can Dex hold up this pursuit from Hesselden? Looks like he can do.
Well, Dex
has really been impressing. He's only had a few races with Front Row Racing, and he's been impressing a fair bit. Maybe not as much as Michelin Man, but his racecraft is very, very good.
And you've just cursed him, so now they definitely will end up in the gravel. But you know what? I want to just jump on board with Dave the Harp. Let's see how he gets on through Redgate, heading to Hollywood. Let's see how he gets on this time around.
Rear wing is down, which means the DRS is open, heading down the hill. He's running very wide through there in order to not hit that bump. And previously, he's hit a bump and slid off, but he's just really looking on the edge at the moment. Doesn't look to be at one with that car.
Definitely not. Okay, Dex and Hesselden very, very close again. But James, if you want to just have a look at Michelin Man and Casely and let us know if they're getting close or not. And in a moment I will go through question of the day again, which we will answer during the podium interviews. But Dex is under a lot of pressure. Go on, James, what do you got for us from up at the front?
Michelin Man and Casely hitting exactly identical times by 1/1000th of a second.
Oh, Heselden nearly hit the back of Dex there, but Dex is holding his own quite nicely. And it's one of the things, being in an identical car to the driver ahead, it's all about setup and driver as to whether you can make a move. And here we go, Heselden up the inside into Redgate. Dex gives him the room, and Heselden takes the place.
Side by side, and Dex just backs out of that because he wants to get a nice run down the hill. Front end slightly twitching for Dex, but can he open up the old hairpin? I think he can, because Heselden's gone a bit deep there, but he also, by going so deep, he's managing to carry so much more speed.
That he is. I'll tell you what.
Man now coming up behind Jason, and he's managed to take him through turn one. Casely behind him. He's just watched as Michelin Man's just been able to open up a gap by an extra 0.2. The drivers really need to see what Michelin Man is doing and try and figure out the pace he's got, because it's frightening at the moment. Casely, a double champion from Season 4, in Season 5 he's looking a bit outmatched here.
Oh, he won't like you saying that. He won't like you saying that, especially at his home Grand Prix, as Casely up the inside on Jason, who is a back marker. I think Casely's got the grip between his teeth, and he's going for it. I mean, I've got to say, from a driver's perspective, as we know, he had a fantastic start, but it only lasted until the exit of turn one. I mean, he went from 12th to 7th from the start finish to. I think Casely has just done a slightly faster lap, has he, James?
I think he's just heard me. He's heard me over live stream, and he's just banged in at a lap 4/10 quicker than Michelin Man. The hunt is on.
Well, 4/10 quicker on that lap maybe, but only 1/1000th of a second quicker than Michelin Man's fastest lap. But I told you, Casely's got the grip between his teeth, and he did that lap time. He did that lap time while overtaking Jason as well. I mean, Michelin Man may have done his while overtaking Jason. Maybe Jason just makes cars go faster. But yeah, I think this is a battle that is not over. Because they won't want it to be over. Casely won't give this up. His internet might, his wheel might, but he won't
give this up. But he's only got 8 laps to catch him. He needs to put him under pressure and keep banging in 4/10 quicker every lap in order to put the frighteners on Michelin Man, as he puts in a 1:07, which is not very quick, and Casely puts in a 1:04. So the tyres do look to be slightly dying now, and Michelin Man looks to be the one that's probably feeling the worst of it, as he took too much out of them tyres too early.
Quite possible. I'm just having a quick look through to see if we've got any other battles that are close on track. It doesn't look like we have. A few of the guys are a little bit spread out. They're in touching distance if any kind of mistakes are made. Jason's got himself up to 10th. GT Gavin and Woolhouse, they're having a battle for 11th and 12th, and Kulukutu is not too far behind them. However, obviously it's this battle up at the front that we're kind of mostly interested in.
Yeah, it's GT Gavin looks to be slightly under a bit of a pressure. If you want to just have a little look at that GT Gavin Woolhouse battle just for a moment, we give him a little bit of screen time as I check out the what's going on at the front and let you know if anything happens.
Well, I think up at the front the gap may have either stabilised or got a little bit bigger.
Oof. Actually, jump to the front. I think Vectra is really slowing down Michelin Man. Michelin Man's up the inside, but Vectra's not moving out of the way. I think Michelin Man lost a lot of time there running down the first sector, and I think Casely is within the same shot in the background, so I think Vectra really did hinder Michelin Man as he ran down the hill there. I think Michelin Man will not have appreciated that.
Have to emphasise again, though, I mean, blue flags are not in play in this race. So, I mean, GBM Vectra doesn't have to get out of the way. Michelin Man knows that. I mean, people will think of that what they will, but Vectra are very deep into the gravel.
Very deep.
Is Casely going to be able to avoid him? Yes, he is.
He has. That's another thing that we saw there with Vectra. Very, very sensible. Not the outbraking manoeuvre. We're on about the movement back onto the circuit. He had a power boost penalty, and he didn't go back onto the racing line. That was very nice to see that he stayed off the racing line and didn't hinder anybody else. Because once you receive a power boost penalty, the difference in speed is enormous.
Oh yes. Now the gap, it has definitely come down. There's only 5 laps left in this race. I don't know if this is good.
Full second Casely was able to take out of Michelin Man on the previous lap.
Yeah, I don't know if Casely's going to be able to catch him without Michelin Man making another little chunky error. If he makes another little or I'm not saying he has made a mistake, but if he makes any kind of mistake, it could be very, very costly. As the car ahead of him, I think that might be Adam 4600. Yeah. And he's well out of the way, heading into the pits. So 4 laps are about to be remaining, and we've got a battle on our hands. Michelin Man in the lead, and Casely's gained on him. He's right behind him now. He's done a 101.0. Casely's going for it. He's gunning for it.
He's absolutely going for it.
Well, I mean, I said that this is my sort of home race, but you know what? It's Casely's race, home race as well. Donington Park is officially in Nottinghamshire, and so is Casely. Although when he gets drunk, I think he ends up in the Yorkshire Dales. But yeah, he's on the back of him. He really is applying the pressure.
Yeah, he needs to. He knows that the points difference is going to be huge if he doesn't, and he needs to start taking points away from him. Because before we know it, at the end of the next round, which will be at Hockenheim, if he goes ahead and does this, it'll be at the halfway point of the season, as there's only 8 events to this season, which is a very short season, but you end up with 16 races in all.
Yeah, with the sprint race and a feature race each event. Yeah, that's what makes up the 16 races. Sorry, I was just looking to see whether Michelin Man was locking up or anything. And I tell you what, Casely, I think he's got him in his sights.
Yeah. No traffic, I don't think, on the previous lap, and he's just took half a second out of Michelin Man. That he is really, really pushing now. And that tenner, I hope it's looking a little bit safer now with 3 laps to go.
It might be. I mean, it's nice to see Michelin Man and Casely sort of in the same vicinity. They've got a car ahead of them that's had a spin. Yeah. I think that may have been over Dykink.
Over Dykink, yeah, he's keeping well out of the way. But will this hinder Casely? I don't think so. I think he's going to let Casely through. Doesn't look like he's going to fight this one.
No. I mean, that's a situation where the blue flags are in play. Oh no, Casely's run wide. Is it going to cost him? I think it has. That's a situation where if blue flags are in play or not, you don't get involved because you just had a bit of an off. You go in a different pace, you let him go. But I think maybe Casely has just pushed it a little bit too hard now for these last
2 laps. 2 laps ago, he only lost 2/10 on that lap with that final little mistake out of the final corner. But he needs to make sure he makes no mistakes because he needs to push Michelin Man. Michelin Man, I don't think, has been pushed so far. He's been the one doing all the pushing.
Yep. Okay. At the end of this race, we will have a podium interview with the top 3 drivers from this. Casely's off! Casely's off!
He's off!
No, he hasn't!
He's back on! It was. Oh, I thought he was in the wall there. But yeah, that were a very, very scary moment there.
I think that was lag.
Flying. Yeah. Hopefully it will not affect him, and Michelin
Man's gone.
Will not see this.
Michelin Man's gone a little bit deep into the first part of the S's. Yeah. That could give Casely half an opportunity, but yeah, you're right. Final lap it is. So the battle continues. James, have a quick flick through the order, see if we've got anything kicking off. I keep seeing Casely's car go flying off the track, but it is lag.
On for 1 lap. It is lag, yeah. It's 3/10 quicker on that previous lap. I'll flick through the drivers at the moment. It's looking very spread out through the rest of the field. Looks like all the action is down for P1. I think GT Gavin and Woolhouse are still in a bit of a battle.
Casely's got a good run on him here. He's got very, very close into McLean's. if he can stay this close through Coppice. I can't see his car. It looks like he's dropped off a little bit, but it's very difficult to know for sure. But Michelin Man is still leading.
I think he's done it. I think he's managed to hold off Casely. I don't think there's anything he can do as he comes through the final couple of corners. It's all about the exit now. I think he's done it. Another win for Michelin Man. Another double win. And this guy is absolutely unstoppable. Well done to Michelin Man.
Okay, Dave the Harp is in third place. He's still riding third place, I believe. Yes, he is. Car ahead of him is GBM Vectra, but I think it may be a lap down. Vectra squeezing him.
Squeezed him off circuit there. I think Dave will be having words with him about that, because that's... I don't think that's in the rule book.
That's a power boost penalty Dave got, but he has managed to keep going, so he is going to cross the line in third place. Yes, it is. Says GBM Vectra's fifth is not. I think this is the battle for fifth. No, GT Gavin, I believe, may have taken fifth place. This is where it's going to get all confusing with the way that this all works.
No, don't worry. I've got the standings just before the checkered flag flew. I'll get them up for the viewers to listen to. So here we go. Michelin Man takes P1, Casely takes P2, Dave the Hart takes P3, but a fair way behind, and he'll be foaming with the way that race went. GBM Oldman P4, P5 Hesselden, another disappointing race. Dex P6, over Dykink P7, GBM Vectra P8, P9 GT Gavin, P10 Woolhouse, P11 Kalukutu, P12 Jason, P13 Adam 4600, and we didn't lose anybody apart from Temp Fear, which was at the start of the race. So once again, fantastic attendance and fantastic to see all the drivers apart from Temp Fear making it to the end of the race.
Are you saying it was fantastic to see Temp Fear not make it to the end of the race?
Well, don't tell him that. But he does get a little bit cocky sometimes, and I think it's just gone and slapped him in the face there, that cockiness.
Quite possibly. Okay, so James, if you'd like to send an invite to Michelin Man, Kay Slay and Dave the Harp, and we'll do the podium interviews with them. If anyone does have any questions that they would like us to put to the podium sitters, just pop them up on the YouTube channel in the chat with at FRR and the question, and we'll put it to the drivers. We'll also do the question of the day. We'll finish that off. Apologies if anybody's had problems with the stream this evening. I wouldn't be surprised if they have, with having to shut the stream down earlier and fire another one up straight away. Sometimes it can cause problems while it's processing one and recording another one. However, regardless of the mass crash earlier on, we've still had a very, very interesting race here. Perhaps not as much action as we may have liked, but it was much more of a tense situation for long periods in that race. I do believe that Michelin Man and Dave the Harp have joined us, so guys, get yourself a breather. We'll come to you in a moment. We'll just wait for Kay Slay to stop banging his head against the wall and come and join us. And here we go, here he is. So Kay Slay has now joined us. Just a quick reminder to you guys, please make sure that you've got your microphone set to allow to be shared, and so that the viewers can hear you on the broadcast, and we'll get on to the podium interviews. But first of all, I just want to say what a race. Michelin Man Kay Slay made it very, very interesting towards the end. Dave made it very interesting all the way through. There'll be a few talking points throughout this podium interview to do with the sprint race and the feature race as well. Well, first of all, Michelin Man, another double victory, maximum points once again. However, today it didn't look as comfortable, especially towards the end of that feature race. So how much was the old rear end twitching? And I don't mean the one with the rear wing on it.
Twitching a lot, mate, in them last 3 laps, was it? Switching a lot, mate, I tell you. And especially when I come up to that, who was it, Vector, dude? He He wouldn't give me no room. I don't know whether it was a bit of a game he was playing, know what I mean?
Well,
it was a good race though, I must admit, it was one good race.
Well, it definitely was. Now, the sprint race, I can hardly remember the sprint race, to be honest. It seems like an age ago. So you'll have to, I mean, obviously, from what James says, you won it. So tell us, how was the sprint race? And once again, how interesting or difficult was it going from the back in the feature race?
Yeah, well, the sprint race I was in, I think I started from 10th place. On the first corner, there was a lot of argy-bargy going on. I seen a few cars going off, so I gained a good few places up just on the first corner. And like, after, I think I was up into third, maybe on the second, third lap, and then I just breezed past them, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it just looked like down towards turn one on that sprint race, I think there were about 4 cars. I think Casely got an absolutely cracking start, and unfortunately, maybe getting mixed up here with the sprint race and the feature race, but
it was in the feature race.
I think it happened twice, though. I think it started where in the sprint race, 4 cars, I don't think this included Casely, but 4 cars in front of you all literally together went straight on at turn 1, and you just picked up the scraps at the exit of turn 1 and flew your way through the field. But then at the start of the feature race, I think Casely got an absolutely rapid start, managed to get well in front of you down towards turn 1, and unfortunately was punted off. And once again, you just played it cool and just basically watched everybody else make mistakes, and you just went for that gap, and away you went.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for in the feature race, was the same to happen in what happened in the sprint race, and it did happen. So that gave me a good start off in that race again. I couldn't believe I didn't get it once in the race, you know what I mean, on that first corner.
Well, I tell you, was there any, excuse me, in the feature race, I mean, fair play to Dave the Hart, once again, took pole position for the feature race, opened himself up a nice little gap, swore a lot when he'd have seen that you got into second place. I mean, were there any difficult parts of that transition period of getting into second, catching him, the pit window, and then having that gap at the end?
No, not really. Not to get past people to get into second. Once I got into second, I was fine. On a bit of the race, I was finding it hard to get the gap down to Dave. And then I think it was around lap 10, 11. He started losing a little bit of pace, and I was catching him fairly quick then.
Yeah, well, we'll find out from Dave in a few moments' time what happened around that period of his race. But very well done, Michelin Man. Don't go anywhere just yet. We'll probably come back to you, and we've also got a question of the day to do. We are going to move on to Kay Slay. Kendall, are you there?
Indeed.
You are indeed. Now, you've had to go through the trials and tribulations of a broken wheel this week and borrowing one. Your car's doing a bit of a random jump about on my screen at the moment, which is making me a little bit dizzy, to be honest. But, I mean, that race, I mean, we've just mentioned little bits of it with Michelin Man there. The feature race, you got an absolutely blinding start. Started 12th. By the time you got to turn 1, you was in 7th. By the time you come out of turn 1, you were not in 7th anymore. So it looked a very difficult race from that point on. Highlights being, looks like you've taken the fastest lap, and it looked like you were going to have him towards the end, although you did give me and James a couple of heart attacks in the last couple of laps, and you might not know why fully until you see the broadcast. But I'd like to know from yourself, obviously, James might want to know what happened in the sprint race, but for me, I would like to know your emotions, your feelings as you're heading down into turn 1, as you're coming out into turn 1, and then that last sort of 8-lap battle to the finish line.
Yeah, like you say, flying start. But I don't know what happened on the inside, and I just got pushed wide. So I was a bit disappointed about that. Clawed my way back into it, and then, unfortunately for Dave, he had a bit of an off, which sort of let me go in the last 10 laps, and then yeah, the gap was just coming down a little bit more. And then, like Michelin said, towards like the last 3 laps, I thought if I just keep it clean, I won't have a chance. But the last lap wasn't particularly great, but it was a good race.
Yeah, I mean, on that, is it on the last lap, heading into McLean's, you were right behind him. It looked like you was going to be close enough for a run down the Dunlop straight, but by the time you got to Coppice, there was a bit of a gap there. Were you struggling on the exit of McLean's?
I was doing a drift.
Fun, but not fast.
Yeah.
Unfortunate there. But I've got to say, I mean, fantastic driving from yourself. I'm going to hand over to James. James, fire some questions at the lad.
Okay. The first question: do you listen to the live stream as you're driving, or do you turn everything off and just get in the zone?
Oh, everything off. Concentrate.
Right, because part of the way through that race, I said, Dave said, Kay's not going to like this, but I said, I think Michelin Man is slightly outclassing Casely at the moment, and then the next lap, you just kept banging in half a second a lap quicker. I think it was the last 3 laps. And I said, I think he's heard me, and he's picking up the pace. So, but yeah, it was also, I've got to hand somebody a £10 note, because I put a bet on that you were going to win about 15 laps from the end, but unfortunately, close but no cigar. But, okay, what are you going to do to be able to dig deep? At this race, I've got to say, you've looked the quicker out of you and Michelin Man, but Michelin Man has once again come away with both victories. What have you got to do to beat him?
Just got to keep it clean and have a clean one, really. I know I can match him for pace. Like you said, I think I had the edge today. But,
Yeah.
you know, I wasn't in a position to capitalise, so second lap to do.
Now, I'm not 100% on the standings, but I'm pretty sure you'll be P2 with David Hart back in P3 in the full championship standings. But do you think you'll be able to do it this season? We're 3 rounds gone, there's only 5 remaining. Can you do it?
Yeah.
That's what I want to hear. I didn't want to hear anything but yeah. So, fantastic racing, and I hope next time at Hockenheim National we'll see you on the top step. And now we'll move on to Dave Hart, P3. You're sounding very despondent, Dave. The sprint race went absolutely, I would say some bad words, but it went completely the opposite way you wanted it to go. And then you managed to get pole position for the feature race, and it looked in the first 10 laps like as if you were controlling the pace, but then once Michelin Man got into P2, his pace along with Casely's was absolutely rapid. What were your feelings throughout that sprint race and then the feature race?
Yeah, the sprint race, I started towards the back somewhere. I got a pretty decent start. I avoided a bit of the carnage, and it was on lap 2. I was behind 2 cars jockeying for position, and they suddenly parted and a car appeared in between them, and I had nowhere to go, and I think it was 10th here, smashed right into the back of him. And that's a fifth for damage.
Was his car stationary or had it had a power boost?
Well, it was on the straight, and I thought it was a stationary car by the amount of impact.
Oh no, I remember that now. No, he had, I think he got a power boost penalty, and about 5 cars come round the corner. The first couple of cars were able to go around him, but that sort of left you blind to him. And yeah, it shunted 10th here a good, and it may have frustrated you, but I mean, there's not a lot either of you could have done, to be honest. But yeah, unfortunate that. The feature race, though, I mean, James said you looked comfortable again. You're leading the race. Michelin Man appears in second place. I'd like to know what went through your mind once you see that name appear in second place. And secondly, we did see twice in 2 laps after the pit stops, a couple of spins heading down the Craner curves. James says it was the DRS, so my question would be, was it the DRS?
No, it was not keeping my eye on track. It's just silly, really. I should have been concentrating rather than looking at gap times and things. And anyway, yeah, I got a good lead at the start. And then he appeared in second place, and I thought, oh, beat. Here he comes. And then I was surprised, I was matching him. The pace, the sector time was staying pretty level most of the time. It was not until towards the end of the stint where my tyres just started going. I couldn't do anything about it.
Think of the stint, it does seem to be in case, Lays. I mean, is that something that you get, because obviously last round and this round for you?
Sheer pace that I need to work on. It's just, nothing seems to be working at the moment. Just have to keep on trying.
Was the moment where Michelin Man had already passed you before the pit stops, you ended up then pitting before, and you were trying to keep position, but did Caseley's pace slightly frighten you, because he stayed out, I think, 2 laps after you, and then pitted and came out side by side on the exit of the pit lane. Yeah, he seemed to, even on old tyres, were able to match you, if not slightly, beat your outlap pace.
Yeah, that's to say, the two of them, they both got more pace than I have. And so I'm trying to do my best to find out what the secret is. But so well done to the both again. It was a good race. So.
Yeah, very well done to the both of them. Sorry, I'm just going to quickly cut you off there, Dave. We're going to quickly move on and start beginning to wrap things up a little bit. But very, very well done to Michelin Man, Caseley 1 and Dave the Harp. I just want to quickly go to YouTube. Got a question here. Why do bike markers not need to give way? Is that a DTM thing? Yes, it is. Basically, the blue flag ruling has basically been taken away for these DTM events. It doesn't mean that you can just ram people off or anything like that, but it does mean that leaders have to actively overtake back markers rather than just being gifted the position. And one here, it says... if Caseley makes the podium, tell him his car looks very camp.
Who's that from?
that's from Steve, and that's about all I'll say on that one. Also says any community race with multiple F1 leagues. Well, yeah, Front Row Racing does have a PSN community for ProjectCARS, and if anyone does want to get involved in ProjectCARS on PS4, you can either come and find Front Row Racing on Facebook, drop us a message, or you can harass Caseley 1 to get him to invite you into the Friday random cars and tracks sessions, which can put you in the limelight for being available for reserve spaces for these Sunday races. I'm going to quickly do the question of the day now. So guys, get ready for this one. It's a really, really difficult one because James has had 3 attempts and he still hasn't got it right. It's dead simple. When was the first race at Donington Park? And there's a second part to it. Why, on the Donington Park logo, does it say the heart of British motorsport? So, Michelin Man, when do you think the first race at Donington Park was?
1953.
It's a good guess. It's a good guess. Caseley?
1949.
It's another good guess. Dave the Harp?
Stop Googling, Dave.
Yeah, stop Googling, Dave. Just answer the question. Come on, man. Dave? I think Dave has fallen asleep. Either that or he's gone to the loo. Right, James, you've had 3 attempts at it. Do you want to have another go?
They're going older than I am. I mean, older than what I suggested of 1955. Let's go with 1943.
Okay. Anyone want to have a guess at why it's called the Heart of British Motorsport, as we find out that Dave the Harp didn't give his answer because his microphone was on mute? No, he's still
the
not
heart
with us.
of England.
Oh, you was on mute, Dave, yeah, so if you were talking, we didn't hear you.
So, dumbass.
I don't know.
55, I said, anyway.
All right, 1955. Okay. Well, I can let you know that, Michelin Man, you may be right with the Heart of British Motorsport, although I've got a feeling it's something slightly different. Donington Park was Donington Park Motor Racing Circuit was the first permanent park circuit in England. Now, it can't necessarily call itself the home of British motorsport because Silverstone, that's what people call Silverstone. But you'd call it the heart of British motorsport if it held the first ever, or if it was the first ever permanent park circuit in Britain. Now, the first race, which was with motorbikes, was in 1931. Yeah, a long time ago. I think Dave the Harp celebrated his first birthday then as well. Or was that GBM Oldman? I'm not so sure. But I've got to give him some jip because he had his microphone on mute when we were asking him a question. Okay, time to wrap this up then. Apologies again that the live stream is in, the videos are in two parts, unfortunately with the game crash earlier on. Not a lot we could do about that. Next up on the Front Row Racing YouTube channel will be this coming Wednesday, 7:25 p.m. for the FRR World Championship on F1 2016 from Silverstone, and then on Thursday we've got the FRR World Series on F1 2016 from Silverstone again. That's 7:25 p.m. on Thursday. Next Sunday you can join us for round 4 of the season 5 in the DTMs, which I think, James, you said was from where?
Hockenheim National, and that'll be the sprint race of 8 laps and a feature race of 32 laps.
Yep, it is a very short, very busy circuit, that one. So make sure you come and join us for that. And if, as I said, if you do want to get involved, come to Front Row Racing on Facebook. Drop us a message there. In a couple of days' time, we'll have the standings up for the ProjectCARS result here, and also we'll pop it on a little video on YouTube as well. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for taking part to all of the drivers. Well done to Michelin Man for taking another double victory, to K-Slay 2 for taking podium second place in the feature race, and to Dave the Harp, who may be up there for having led the most feature race laps without unfortunately winning a race yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if it does come soon. Maybe in Germany it'll be the place it happens, so come and join us for that. James, thank you very much for joining us in the commentary box. This has been the Front Row Racing ProjectCARS Season 5 DTMs for Round 3 Donington Park. Join us next Sunday for Round 4.
Good night, everybody.